guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks very much for joining us again today. I've got a very short video for you that will show you Weebly versus Wix, just a very quick overview. Before I do so, there's a link to both of these platforms down in the description for this video as a free trial version. So if you want to check either of them out, then click the links down below and that'll take you to either one has a free trial version of it right there for you. So primarily, just very quickly, I'd sort of, recommend both platforms. When it comes to, a beginner getting into web design or even an advanced user or someone who's looking to just make a website from scratch for whatever reason, Wix and Weebly are both very much worth considering. I wouldn't say one outweighs the other significantly. So before I get into it, as a very quick overview of what I'm about to say, there's very few differences between them really. One of the primary differences, and for me this is a big one actually, but depends how you kind of see things, is that you can't drag and drop things in Weebly. I mean, you'll see that I've got things stacked in columns here. I can't just grab that button and drag it down and place it somewhere anywhere on the screen. Even it's not like a movable element. So I mean, when you do drag things in for the first time, you're able to kind of position them in terms of in what order does it appear. Is it below that sort of section, or and when you do that, you've got the button there now, and I can sort of put it in the middle or the right. I can't sort of place it in between without getting into the HTML. Whereas the Wix website editor will allow you to just literally drag and drop things and place them, like a millimeter to the right or left if you want. So it's very, very different in terms of how you edit visually. Because I'm not a HTML user, I'm a visual user. Because I'm not coding and kind of doing things like that, primarily, that makes a big difference to me, So it's frustrating that you want that button now. I want it in line with that one, for example, but there's no real way of doing it easily without going into the spacing, and even then it's quite frustrating, and as opposed to in Wix where you just click it and drag it and drop it there and it's done. So actually I'd say that's probably the biggest difference for me between the two of them. Surprisingly enough, that's kind of one of the big things, one of the big separators really. The dashboards are very similar. The way you manage websites are kind of, it's set out very similar. With regards to, e-commerce and selling, I think the Wix selling analytics is very apprehensive, is very good. A lot of people charge as a third party for a lot of the data and information they give you. Weebly maybe, not so much. You'd maybe look at, utilizing some kind of third party software to give you more information about your website and where your traffic's coming from and things like that. But, both do it to a certain extent. And yeah, I'd say Weebly may be easier accessible for someone who's never built a website before. Maybe it's easier to get a website that's looking good, because what I was saying just now about the ability to drag and drop things in the interface in Wix can actually lead to it being looking very wrong and unjustified. Whereas in Weebly, when you build a site for the first time, it's very difficult to make it look a mess because of the way it's all structured on a grid. So, that's something to consider as well. With regards to the tools built in, Wix definitely outweighs Weebly there. I mean, there's way more features built into Wix in terms of the website editor and the dashboard, as you can see. That one just looks a lot more simplistic, and it is. But, there isn't a huge amount of difference between them really. Then it's, the tools in the website editor itself. There is an apprehensive app store for both of those platforms. So Weebly has one and Wix has one. So, the fact that it hasn't got much tools built in kind of gets negated by that, because it's not built into Weebly, but it is available on the App Store. So something else to consider. And that's about it, really. You know, like I said, there's 2 trial versions down below. Give them both a try. They're both definitely worth utilising, and it's kind of down to preference. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Wix. That's kind of I've got a bit of a soft spot for it, I guess. I like the ability to drag and drop. That's the difference maker to me. So if you've enjoyed the video, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. If you've got any questions or any suggestions for future videos, leave them down below. And like I said, don't forget about those 2 links down in the description down below as well. Thank you very much.